Oh yeah, so another thing too, okay, so while I was in New York with Edka, basically what he was telling me at the time, if it was him, I don't know if there was some other suspicious stuff going on, because he did seem a little bit off, like he was almost like maybe autistic, because one of his friends seemed like he was manipulating him for like money or something. I don't know, just a lot of weird scenarios. But anyways, though, when I talked to him about this person who's been accusing me of stuff online and whatnot, he basically told me that he talked to her and said, you had responsibility for some of this. Like, basically when people try to say, like, oh, this is the only person involved in the relationship, it's usually a lie. I'm not saying that it isn't a lie, like, all the time or something like that. Like, some people are actually telling the truth. But yeah, with her, she clearly did. And even he said that. And she didn't really have much to say to that, which is why she had to make some posts later on because he asked her to. And then another thing, too, he said that Christine was the same kind of way. Because I told him that Christine and Katie have like similar traits and whatnot. He was like, oh, I see what's going on here. And another thing, too, he was telling me how Christine would use the money that he lent her for seers, divinations, and all this other stuff. And then another thing too, Christine was the one who tried to get me to fight Etika in the first place because she was like, he doesn't care about anyone but himself, Kobe. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. Because she was telling me how she missed out on her job opportunities and stuff like that because basically he wanted her, stay at home for different things. I'm not going to divulge that. But what I am saying though is that that's what she told me. Plus, she'd be telling me other stuff like almost like, second man kind of stuff, if you get what I'm saying. Like, almost like little shots, pot shots at him in a way when she was talking to me about him. And then another thing, too, Catherine Green did say that Christine is not really that attractive at all. And also another thing too, the John and Edgar got upset because of something I supposedly said to Katie, who took that over to Christine. So I feel like Christine and Katie basically blackmailed Edgar in some way because yeah, something seems to be going on. And then this woman talks about how she doesn't try to intimidate people, talking about whose ass we gotta beat. People keep trying to say, oh, people just joke like that and all that stuff. No, she actually told me over the phone back then that she was talking to someone and she was like, I think she's scared and all that stuff. And I was trying to discourage her from doing something worse. But as you can see, that's why she's contacted my sister because she always knew I cared about my sister. I told her about her. And then also another thing too, she collaborates with the people who targeted me, like Philemon Obana, because I told her back then how he tried to take my channel down and whatnot. So clearly, this woman has compromised morals. Every time she talks is like watching a dog eat its vomit. And, that's what God says. That's not what I say, that's what God says. And, yeah, it's just pretty interesting. Now, like I said, because I'm saying all this stuff, she's either going to deflect, ignore, or say I'm lying. And she already knows she's lying. And she's even proven it before, and she is pretty gleeful about it. So that's why I'm saying I don't mind if she does lie about it or not, because I'm not lying about it. Just like I'm not lying about how when I sent what is it, the text, don't send me pics like that if you don't want Koban now. Why did I say that? Because she was watching videos of me on my channel, Politics Religion 456, and Kobaner 456 trailers or whatever. And she was basically talking about how baby Kobe can get it and all that stuff. And she masturbated over my old pictures and stuff like that. Not like nudes, but basically a 16-year-old version of me. Because another thing I said too was that when I told her, I was 16, that she was like, oh, like what? Could she not tell or something? Or what? That's what I'm saying. I feel like, yeah, this woman has some issues because she did send unsolicited golden Hisoka lolly. And I want everyone to know that. And all these other people who know that, who work with seers, divinations, all that stuff, you all must know that. And If you're acting like you don't, then we know why, because you're in cahoots. Simple as that. Also, how does that dude have a job? Like in Ohio or something like that? He's like a nurse. Talks about, I can't stand mental patients and all that stuff. But, I guess if people are putting demons and familiar spirits and whatnot on their children or family members and whatnot, I guess probably would be tiring, huh? If you got to deal with something like that or whatever. I don't know. I got to deal with my family doing that. And then my dad acts like he's not supposedly dealing with mental illness, and he wants to be like, I'm tripolar and all that stuff. Is he autistic? I don't know if my dad's autistic or not. I think he's a poker face, and I think my mom's autistic, unless they just lied and then they just did curses on us while we were in the womb or something like that, or over time as we were children, teens, and adults, because my mom has always acted like she owned me. Like, I brought you into this world, I can take you out. And that's how she's always kind of talked to us. In fact, she even said she'd be proud to kill us, to go to jail for killing us. She told us that when we were young. So, yeah, she don't remember that. She don't want to say that. Don't listen to any of her shenanigans that she be talking about, like, oh, you were so smart, Kobe. Oh, you did this. Oh, you did that. Yeah, okay, why'd you yell at me when I couldn't figure out math answers? Why'd you yell at me when I couldn't figure out this or that? Why were you always upset at me when I didn't understand English that well? All this other stuff. That's what I'm saying. You would be yelling at me and whatnot. And then there were times you even know in my old curriculum books. I bet you if you found them or if you lost them, there's maybe some ulterior motive. But I do know for a fact that you and Columbia know that. Just like Columbia was little mini mom back then. She'd be gritting her teeth, getting in people's face. That's what I told Columbia. Like, do that to Benny. Do all that stuff. Do it. Since you want to do that with me, act like you so this and that and whatnot. Like, you gonna fight for your family or not? Just like she didn't let me stay when I didn't have a place to stay. Exactly. I didn't even want to stay inside of her place. But there you go. That's what I'm saying. Your family may have held you out from childhood. Just like Toby Mac supposedly sacrificed his son. I mean, he was on Good Morning America, and they talked about that or whatever, and he died at 21. Isn't 21 like an occult number? All I'm saying is that John Ramirez knows that, and John Ramirez hasn't got back to me, so John Ramirez may still have some satanic ties. I don't know. But either way, there's always a bigger and badder demon supposedly out there, which is why you really shouldn't just be dabbling with this stuff, and you should do it the right way. And if you learn this stuff, like my dad was saying, I was trying to speak to your mom telepathically back then. I've seen so and so do this when I was this old and all that stuff. If you know that, why are you acting this way with your children? Probably because maybe you saw some divination and it just caused so much paranoia that you were like, I'm just gonna sell out and cold cook my children. So yeah. Anyways, though, if they lie, that's exactly why. Just like my dad tried to be like, oh, you always had a lazy eye. Like the one I've had to try and be like, oh yeah, I didn't do that to you. And then there you go. Exactly. Exactly. So another thing too, any depressant can actually affect your eyes. So alcohol and stuff like that can too. But I know for a fact cigarettes definitely did. In fact, cigarettes increase psychosis symptoms. And this dude, when he smokes all these cigarettes, like 2 boxes or whatever, or 4 boxes like he did with his girlfriend back then or whatever, just literally marinating in it when he's got one lung. It's like the dude literally said, he's wanted to shoot someone in the head right near me. I'm like, dude, what the heck is wrong with you? What are you talking about? Just like he had a girlfriend with a son who said, I will shoot you in the face right now. I'm like, what the heck? Who has demons like this around? And that's why I'm just like, yeah, these people slow cook you. It's like brainwashing. Exactly. My parents didn't love me. Are you kidding me? Love is like the most foreign word from their mouths, in my opinion. It's like I'm going to do it my way, and you better respect me this way, because if not, I'm too good for you. That's exactly how they are. And it's like, let me disrespect you, let me walk over you as much as I'd like to. And if you try to say something against me, well, I'm going to spite you back in some other way. I asked my dad, why'd you burn a cigarette on an Xbox like that I bought? I asked him that. He just kept ignoring it. Started yelling at me. Started cussing me out. I don't give a fuck who did. I'm like, what the like, what? just cursing. It's demons. It's demons. It's demons. It's demons. It's demons. He knows I have mental illness, and he does everything he can to make it worse and cause these symptoms to go on, just like all these other ho boys, like Raqib, Giancarlo Paramango, yeah, even Desmond Amofa. All these people, bro. Ho boys. That's all I'm saying. Ho boys for another god, whether it be Satan or someone else. Because if Etika supposedly collabed with Raqib later, or John did later, or collabed with someone who was associated with them later, why, when you were warning me, he's a snake, when y'all were snakes too in your own way? And if you don't want to admit it, then there you go. You were snakes. Now tell me, John, how did I wrong you? Tell me, Sully. How'd I wrong you? Hey, Courtney, what'd I do to try to make you slander me like that? Are you kidding me? And you know it too. And you sent it to me on Instagram back then, right? Exactly. So what I'm saying is right now, you all are not and never were my friends. This is like one of those things like Steve Harvey or whatever, or all these other people, conspiracy theories. Like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Put the joke right in your face, huh? Yeah, exactly. That's what's going on here. But that's what I'm saying. All these people were never my friend, and they're lying. And I want them to know that. And you know something? If my sister sold me out back then or whatever, then, I mean, if she has children, I want her children to know that too. Keep it in mind. Like, hey, you know, your mom sold her brother out long before. I don't know, but I feel like there is something there. Because if they had capabilities, but they weren't using that to actually help, then there you go. Half-hearted, double-minded men. Never loved me. And they hoed me out for money and to beat me like a pinata.